A very good morning to all the NEET 2026 students and the students who are aspiring for NEET 2027 as well. So, yesterday's paper NEET 2026, how was it, sir? Biology?
It's very good, madam. It's all PYQs, everything was come NCRT.
Yes. Everything is from NCRT and I felt the paper onto easy level only, not even moderate. I felt it very easy. Okay. So, now we'll ask our student also. How you felt your biology exam yesterday?
It was very easy, ma'am.
Very easy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All the concepts which we have discussed have come?
Yes, ma'am.
All the PYQ sessions you have practiced?
Yes, ma'am.
Mock tests you have practiced?
Yes, ma'am. From that only each question was there.
Yes.
I attempted every question.
Good. So that is the review. Here we have one student, so we asked it directly. And yes, if we have to start the paper. Yes, first question. Yeah. From which chapter is it, sir?
This is from biodiversity conservation.
Yeah.
See, this is from biodiversity conservation chapter. You see, it's such a easy question. They ask, the evil quartet of biodiversity loss is due to which of the following? Just 4 points they gave in NCRT. That is, see, habitat loss and fragmentation, the first cause, and over exploitation, invasion of alien species, and also co-extinctions. These 4 things, due to this only the biodiversity loss was occurring. So they gave such an easy question. The option, the correct option for this question is option 2, right?
Yeah. So the next question, if you have to observe, the question is from cell biology. Okay. From cell biology, we got 3 questions. So here, if we see this question, yeah. Which one of the following is the site for active rRNA synthesis? I think we have discussed it numerous times, where if I have to take a single nucleus, in nucleus what are the components of nucleus? We have nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, chromatin, DNA and RNA. Okay, these are the components of nucleus. In that, inside a nucleolus, rRNA is synthesized by RNA polymerase 1. In the nucleoplasm, both tRNA and mRNA are synthesized. mRNA is synthesized by RNA polymerase 2, tRNA is synthesized by RNA polymerase 3. Okay, so here inside nucleolus, rRNA is synthesized, which is the direct question from NCRT, and this is the concept reference for it. Okay, and the next question, if you have to take, the question is from cell cycle and cell division again. Okay, cell cycle and cell division. Match the following type of question from phases of cell cycle. So here, if you see, first G1 phase. In G1 phase, we have learned that from a cell cycle which includes both interphase and M phase. In interphase G1, S, G2 and M phase. Okay, G1 phase, where cells are metabolically active, continuously growing, most of the cellular organelle duplication happens, but it doesn't replicate DNA. So G1 phase, the answer will be option 2. A is 2. Next, S phase. In S phase, inside the nucleus, synthesis of DNA takes place, and in the cytoplasm, centriole duplication happens. So S moves with option 3. And G2 phase, if you have to take, G2 phase, proteins are synthesized while cell growth continues itself, which is option 4. And in M phase, actual cell division occurs. Actual cell division occurs in M phase. So here the right answer is A2, B3, C4 and D1, right? Next. Yeah, this question is from ecology. Sir will be discussing.
This question is from ecology. from the ecosystem this question was came. You see, the productivity is nothing but the rate of biomass production, and also we know NPP, net primary productivity, is nothing but GPP minus R. GPP minus R, gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss, is nothing but NPP, right? You see, from this option, NPP is gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss. Option B is 1. So these two. Next one, productivity is nothing but rate of biomass production. So A is 3. Next, coming to the what is gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. And the gross primary productivity is nothing but rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. The first organic matter, the first production is called as gross primary productivity. And now the formation of new organic matter from consumers is called as secondary primary productivity. See, C is 4 and D is 2. See, from 4 options, by eliminating by selecting 2 options, you can easily answer. Here the option is 2. So the net primary productivity is GPP minus R. R is nothing but respiratory loss, and GPP is nothing but rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis, and secondary productivity is nothing but rate of formation of new organic matter from consumers. So here the option is 2. And next, this 95th question, you see, this is from organisms and environment, right? See, they gave some statements. They are asking what are the correct answers, correct statements from this A, B, C, D, E, right? The Amazon rainforest being cut and cleared for the cultivation of soya beans is an example of habitat loss, right? So we already discussed what is the cause of the habitat loss and fragmentation, invasion of alien species, all the 4 things. Here they gave examples. And see, stellar sea cow and passenger pigeon became extinct due to over exploitation, right? And here the nail perch introduced into Lake Victoria in East Africa helped in population growth of chilled fish in lake. This is not actually correct option. And you see, invasion of alien species, they gave best example, water hyacinth is an example of invasion species. See, according to this A, B, D, here the A, B are right, and here the D is the only one. When a species become extinct, the plant and animal species associated with it are not affected. You see, it's not affected. This is wrong. It is affected because there is a mechanism called coevolution, right? So it will be affected. So option E definitely wrong. So these 2 you can eliminate, and here the final answer is A, and A, B, D, right? So this is about this ecology, organism environment question. So here they gave example. First question they gave direct statements, right? Well, let's go to next question. I think this is from biomolecules. Madam will discuss.
Yes. Very direct question, sir. This is also. Yeah. Now if you have to see this question, which is from biomolecules, identify the correct statements about biomolecules, okay, which is a statement based question. We need to identify correct statements. Lipids are generally water soluble, okay, even a kindergarten student can say lipids are not water soluble, okay. Proteins are polypeptides, true. Polysaccharides are long chains of sugars, right. Adenine and guanine are substituted pyrimidines, no, they are substituted purines, not pyrimidines. Pyrimidines include what, na? Thymine, uracil, cytosine. Good. All enzymes are proteins, but all proteins are not enzymes. Almost all enzymes are proteins only. So here what are the correct statements that we have seen? B, C and E. B, C and E. Option 2 is the right answer. Next, this question, if you observe, how many ATP and NADPH molecules are required to make one glucose through Kelvin cycle? Kelvin cycle, in Kelvin cycle, for the formation of one glucose molecules, 6 Kelvin cycles have to operate, and it requires 6 carbon dioxides. 6 CO2 are required, and for single carbon dioxide fixation, it takes 3 ATP and 2 NADPH, 3 ATP and 2 NADPH, sorry. For 6 carbon dioxide fixations, that is 6 Kelvin cycles, it is 3 into 6, that is 18 ATP, and 2 into 6, that is 12 NADPH. So, the right answer will be option 1. Next. This question is from biotechnology, sir will be dealing.
See, this is from biotechnology. The concept is about restriction endonucleases, right? So, these are also called as molecular scissors. We know, right, these are restriction endonucleases because they are cutting the DNA inside the DNA. So, that's why it's called as molecular scissors. And these are the enzyme responsible for the restricting the growth of bacteriophages in E. coli. Right answer, that is the natural phenomena occurs in E. coli. So, we took that phenomena and we implied in our genetic engineering. So, that's why these are called as molecular scissors, and this option is also right. And they cut the DNA only at the center of the palindromic sequences, not at the center of the palindromic sequences, right. So, they are, for example, let's take one example, GATCG, and here one restriction site will be there, and for example, which can causes this overhanging ends and like kind of thing. So, coming to this, they cut only at the center of the palindromic sequences was the wrong option, and they remove nucleotides only from the ends of the DNA fragments, and also they recognize the specific palindromic sequences, palindromic base pair sequences. From this, we can see choose the answer from the options given below. A will be the right, and also B will be the right. And coming to this, C is wrong, and they remove nucleotides only, not only from the ends of the DNA fragments, and also they recognize specific palindromic base pair sequences, even though E is also wrong statement. So, here the option is okay. They are asking which of the following statements are not true, right. So, even though A, B, D, E are right, this thing E are right, so here the C was wrong statement, right. Sorry. I think it was gone, I think. Instead of that thing, I was yeah, it came. So, they are asking about incorrect statements. See, they cut the DNA only at the center of the palindromic sequence, which was exactly incorrect statement. So, here option 3 will be the wrong statement. Option 3 will be the correct statement, right. And see, they remove nucleotides only from the end of the DNA fragments, that is also wrong. So, option C and D are wrong, whereas these are molecular scissors, and it is responsible in bacteria. They have this phenomena, so that's why these enzymes respond for the restricting the growth of bacteriophages. And also this thing, they are recognized specific palindromic sequences. So, that was the key mechanism in this restriction endonucleases. So, here the option is C and D. And next, move. 99th question.
So, here if we see, this is a question which is very simple and easy. If you observe, first is what, ma? Decomposition. Decomposition means what? Which is breakdown of complex organic matter into simpler inorganic substances. All the saprophytes will use the process of decomposition, where saprophytes will release the enzymes. Those enzymes will digest the complex molecules, and then they will be converted into the simpler substances which are absorbed by these organisms. So, A is option 3, and then detritus, which is option 4. What are detritus? Dead remains of plants and animals, which include the fecal matter as well. And then mineralization. What is mineralization? Which is release of inorganic nutrients by the activity of microbes in soil. Humification is accumulation of dark colored amorphous colloidal substances. So D is 1, C2, B4 and A3. The right answer is option 3. This is directly from definitions of the basic terms which we learn from 8th standard. And next. Yeah, this question, if you have to observe, this question is from plant kingdom. From plant kingdom, gymnosperms. Okay. In which of the following the ovules are not enclosed by ovary wall and remain exposed? Ovules are not enclosed by ovary wall in gymnosperms, and here the right example for gymnosperm is pinus, which is option 3. Got it, ma? Next, 101. This question is from morphology. Morphology. So here there is a question, ma'am, 638 ST category JIPMER possible. Yeah, let us, as the paper is very easy, this time we are expecting the cutoffs to be high. Yes, no sir? This time we are expecting the cutoffs to be high. So let us hope the best. There is a possibility. There is a possibility. Let us hope the best. Okay. Let the final key release by the NTA and then we can make it sure. Okay. As of now, there is maximum possibility. Marginal placentation. Example is P. Axile placentation. Lemon. Parietal placentation. Example mustard, which belongs to Brassicaceae family. Basal placentation, example marigold. So what is the right answer? A is 2, B 4, C 1 and D 3. Option 3 is the right answer. Done, right? And then, yeah. The next question is also from morphology. Yeah. In angiosperms, root hairs arise from which one of the following regions of root? So this is from first part of morphology of flowering plants, from regions of the root, where we have learnt in clear that we have root cap at the terminal end, at the tip, followed by region of meristematic activity, followed by region of elongation, and then region of maturation. In the region of maturation, root hairs will arise. Region of maturation, which is option 4. And then, which one of the following is not a characteristic of plant cells in the phase of elongation? Which is not a characteristic? Large conspicuous nuclei. Okay, large conspicuous nuclei is a characteristic for meristematic region. Meristematic region. Okay, and increased vascularization, cell enlargement, these are the characteristic feature for elongation phase. New cell wall deposition is the characteristic feature for the maturation phase. Okay, so this is about this. Next, 104 question. This is from genetics. From molecular basis of inheritance. Very interesting, simple and easy. Just look at it. Which one of the following statements are correct with reference to transcription unit? Okay, transcription unit means what, ma? Transcription unit includes, see, transcription unit includes a promoter, structural gene and a terminator. Got it? So, a transcription unit in DNA is defined primarily by 3 regions: promoter, structural gene and terminator, which is option A, that is correct. The promoter is said to be located towards 5' end of the structural gene. True. The promoter is a DNA sequence that provides binding site for RNA polymerase. True. Promoter defines the template and coding strands. Correct. The 5' end of the coding strand is the promoter. True. The terminator is located towards 3' end of the coding strand and it defines the end of the process of transcription. The terminator is located towards 3' end of coding strand and it defines the end of the process of transcription. E is also correct. So, here once if you have to recheck this, option A is true, B is correct, C, promoter is the DNA sequence that provides binding site of RNA polymerase at the promoter is the DNA sequence that provides the binding site of RNA polymerase. Promoter defines the template and coding strands. E. So, all the statements seems to be correct. There is a small point in it. Once again we will go through it. A transcription unit in DNA is defined primarily by 3 regions: promoter, structural gene, terminator. True only. Promoter is said to be located at 5' end of coding strand, not structural gene, 5' end of coding strand. Okay. So, B is wrong. This is explained here in statement E. The terminator is located towards 3' end of the coding strand and it defines the end of process of transcription. So, here the right answer will be A, C, D and E. Then, the alpha helix is found in which level of protein structure? Alpha helix and beta sheets, they are present in the secondary structure of protein. Next, this is from amino acids, again from biomolecules. Which of the following statements are correct regarding amino acids? Amino acids, here you see from D we will come. Lysine is an acidic amino acid, wrong. Lysine is basic. Valine is neutral, true. Serine is an aromatic amino acid, wrong. Phenylalanine, tryptophan and one more amino acid is there, threonine. These 3 are aromatic amino acids: phenylalanine, tryptophan and threonine. They are substituted methanes, true. So, A and C are correct. Next, the main function of biliform cells in grasses. This question is from anatomy. The main function of biliform cells. Question is from anatomy. To make the leaf impermeable, fungal spores, no, it has no relation with that. To perform photosynthesis, no. To minimize water loss during water stress, too. Biliform cells are present in the monocot leaves, epidermis, whose main activity is to minimize water loss during water stress. Find the incorrect statement. Next question is to find out the incorrect statement about photosynthesis from the following. Yeah. Sir, here we have few comments. Let's address it first. 660 aims possible. So, as of now we can't predict anything. There is a possibility, right sir?
Yes,
there is a possibility, but we cannot guarantee it.
This time there will be a high cutoff. We'll see what will happen.
Genetics PYQs చెప్పండి మ్యామ్ ప్లీజ్ టుమారో ఎగ్జామ్ ఉంది EAP సెట్. Genetic PYQs, sir, chapter wise we have already made. in the NEET World channel, in this channel only, if you go through the playlist, all the PYQs are available. In this session, we are going to solve concept-wise NEET 2026 paper only, ma. Okay. In this session, it is NEET 2026 paper only. If you want genetic PYQs, you can directly type in the playlist. You will get that session. Right, sir?
Yes, madam.
So here this question is from plant physiology again. We need to identify the incorrect statement. First statement, water splitting complex is associated with photosystem 1, which is wrong. Water splitting complex is associated with photosystem 2. So A is wrong. C4 plants use C3 pathway for carbon dioxide fixation as main biosynthetic pathway. Okay, the main biosynthetic C4 plants will use C3 pathway for carbon dioxide fixation, but this is not the main biosynthetic pathway. C4 pathway is also there. C4 plants photorespiration. Yeah, C4 in C also we will see. In C4 plants photorespiration does not occur, correct, because in C4 plants there is an adaptation which is known as Kranz anatomy. C3 plants exhibit Kranz anatomy, wrong, option D is wrong. ATP synthesis in chloroplast occurs through chemiosmosis. Yes, it is said in chemiosmotic hypothesis by Peter Mitchell. So the direct incorrect statements which we can see is A and D, option 2. Now, next question, which is again from anatomy. From anatomy of flowering plants, we got 2 questions this time. This is the second question. List 1 and list 2. Conjunctive tissue is present in the root stellar region, that is in between xylem and phloem. The stellar region of root, in between xylem and phloem, we have conjunctive tissue. So A, option 3. Casparian stripes are present in the endodermal cells of the root. Those are suberant depositions. So B is option 4. Subsidiary cells. These are the specialized cells which are in close proximity to the guard cells. So C is 1. Starch sheath. Starch sheath is present in the endodermal cells which is rich in starch in the dicot stem. Dicot stem endodermis consists of what? Starch sheath, which is option 2. So A is 3, B 4, C 1 and D 2. Option 3 is the right answer. Next question is from biotechnology again. Sir. Yeah, this one.
See this question, all the options are all the years of PYQs, right? So just a simple PYQs question. See, the genetically modified organism is BT cotton. So a Bacillus thuringiensis cotton, and not only BT cotton, BT brinjal, all the things are there. All the years are genetically modified crops. And thermostably DNA polymerase, which is Thermus aquaticus, which we can use in PCR. So option B is definitely Thermus aquaticus. And genetically modified organism is BT cotton. And coming to this TI plasmid, which is present in Agrobatium tumefaciens, and this PBR 322, it's a plasmid which is present in E. coli. So coming this, B is option 3, right? So B is option 3. So based on one option only, you can easily identify the correct option. And coming to this A is 2 and C is 1, Agrobacterium tumefaciens, and PBR 322 plasmid which is present in E. coli. So the correct option is option 3. So all are the PYQs of all years. So just doing the PYQ only, you are getting 4 marks in it. So this is about this biotechnology question. Next question is about plant, I think.
Yes, sir. It is from plant physiology, plant growth and development. So here if you see, heterophilous development in response to environment is an example of which of the following? It is an example of plasticity. Okay. One of the example of plasticity is heterophily. Option 4. Next. Next question is from genetic disorders. Sorry, it is from morphology, racemose inflorescence. Racemose inflorescence in racemose inflorescence, main axis doesn't terminate to flower, it grows continuously. Growth is unlimited in racemose inflorescence. Flowers are born in acropetal succession only, not in basipetal succession. In basipetal succession, flowers are born in cymose inflorescence. Flowers are solitary. In racemose inflorescence, flowers can be solitary or flowers can be in group also. So, the right answer is option 3. Next, 113. Which one of the following disorders is caused by substitution of glutamic acid by valine at 6th position of beta globin chain of hemoglobin molecule? So, here single change in a single nitrogen base, sickle cell anemia is also known as point mutation, which is change in single nitrogen base, that is from GAG to GUG. Okay. So, the right answer is option 3. Next, which is autosomal recessive disorder, and then next question is from principles of inheritance. Okay, from the deviations of Mendelian inheritance. Incomplete dominance examples, which is inheritance of flower color in Antirrhinum, AS 2. Codominance, example you can take ABO blood grouping, which is option 4. Pleiotropy, human skin color. Just a second. Yeah, pleiotropy, phenylketonuria is the example. Pleiotropy, phenylketonuria disease in humans. Polygenic inheritance, you can take the example of human skin color. So, the right answer is option 1. Next, 115. Arrange the following in correct developmental sequence related to microsporogenesis. Microsporogenesis is formation of sperm cells or pollen grains. Okay. So, this is the TS of anther. Here if you observe, sporogenous tissue will be inside, which is covered by 4 anther wall layers. Okay. So, inside the sporogenous tissue, which is first, what do you have? Pollen mother cells. Okay, pollen mother cells, which later form microspore tetrads and pollen grain. So, B will be 1, followed by pollen mother cells, which is option 2, and then from this you will have microspore tetrads, that is 3, and then pollen grains, which is 4. So, it is B, D, A and C. Option 3 is the right answer. Got it? Next. Yeah. So, DNA fingerprint.
So, this is again from this biotechnology, and here they asked about DNA fingerprinting, and they asked what is the process of this DNA fingerprinting. They asked what are the procedure steps of this DNA fingerprinting. So, in DNA fingerprinting, what we are going to do? First, we have to isolate of the DNA and its digestion by restriction endonuclease. That is only the first step, right? Next, after isolating, after digesting with the restriction endonuclease, what we have to do? We have to apply in gel electrophoresis. So, separation of DNA fragments by electrophoresis. So, this will be the second step, right? So, after separation, so what we have to do? We have to do blotting. So, that thing is called as transferring of separated DNA fragments to synthetic membrane, which is called as blotting technique. So, this will be the third step. After blotting, so we have to hybridize the DNA labels. So, hybridization using a labeled VNTR probes, that will be the fourth step, right? So, after all these things, so we have to detect is there any hybridized fragments are there or not. So, detection of hybridized DNA fragments by autoradiography, this will be the last step. So, according to this, so A will be the first step, B will be the last step. You can easily eliminate 3 and 4, and after isolation, what will be the second next step? Separation of DNA fragments, right? So, A after E, E after C, C after B and B after D. So, from this, for this question, the option 1, which is the correct option. First of all, we have to isolate the DNA. After that, we have to move on electrophoresis. after that blotting techniques, after that hybridization, and we have to detect by autoradiography. So this was the procedure of DNA fingerprinting, right? So the next question, 117. This is also biotechnology kind of thing. Exploring molecular and genetic and species level diversity for products of economic importance of growth. This was the direct definition. So here if you see, biomagnification is nothing but increasing toxic level in each and every organism level, right? So this will be the not option. And biofortification is nothing but the nutritional level of that animal. So this is will be also wrong option. Bioremediation, this will be like using microorganisms, we have cleaning, right? So this is also wrong option. So here the final option, if you see, bioprospecting. So we are using this exploring molecular, genetic, species level diversity for the products of economically important products. So that's why the exact definition is bioprospecting. So next the question is about this sex determination. So madam will tell.
Yes. So this is from haplodiploid mechanism of sex determination from honeybees. Okay. So which of the following statements are true with reference to sex determination in honeybees? In honeybees, first statement, if you see, an offspring formed from union of a sperm and egg develops as female. True. Females will have complete set of chromosomes, that is 32 chromosomes. A is true. An unfertilized egg as a male by parthenogenesis. Yes, male is produced via mitosis from an unfertilized egg. B is true. C, a male has half the number of chromosomes than that of a female. Yes, males have only half the set of chromosomes. Females have complete set of chromosomes. Males produce sperms by meiosis. No, they produce sperms by mitosis. Honeybees have a haplodiploid sex determination system. E is true. So A, B, C and E. A, B, C and E. Option 4 is the right answer. Next question. Yeah, this is identify the correct sequence of steps in polymerase chain reaction. It is in 3 simple steps. First is denaturation, extension and then annealing, which is option 2. Simple, it is right away. And then sir, please come.
Right. So in PCR, you see we have only 3 steps. First we have to separate the DNA strands, and we have to
biotechnology, right?
Yes, I will do. So in PCR, what is the main 3 steps? So the first step is we have to separate the DNA strands. So that is denaturation. After separation of DNA strands, we have to annealing the primers. So we have to attach the primers. So that step is annealing. And after annealing, what happens? This DNA polymerase, what will do? It will elongate the chain. So that is extinction. So here the first step is denaturation, annealing and extinction. So option is 1. So this is the correct sequence of the polymerase chain reaction, right? Understand? And coming to this 120, this is about this is also about this biotechnology question I will solve. Right, we'll see. They are asking which of the following statements are correct. We'll see which of the following statements are correct with respect to DNA separation, isolation and visualization. Just this thing, DNA fingerprinting kind of thing only. So we'll see, the cutting of DNA is done by molecular scissors. Exact statement, the cutting of DNA is done by restriction endonuclease. Their question here, the option A will be the right. And the DNA fragments separated according to their size, right, in an agarose gel upon electrophoresis, right? So according to the size only the DNA fragments are going to separate. The low fragments are going to reach and the large fragments are stay at the position only, right, according to their size. And the separated DNA fragments can be seen without staining. Can we see without staining, guys? No, right? Without staining we can't see the DNA fragments, right? So we're exposed to UV light. Even though this off portion is right, but this without staining is not correct. So option C will be the wrong option, wrong statement. And the separated fragments when stained with ethidium bromide, right? When stained with ethidium bromide only we can see, can be seen in visible light. Are you seeing this ethidium bromide in visible light? No, we have to use this UV radiation, autoradiography, right? So here these two statements are partially correct and partially incorrect, right? So coming to this, choose the correct answers from the options given below. A and B are the correct statements. See, the option 4 showing A and B are the correct statement. These are exactly correct statements, whereas these two are, this is without staining, this is wrong, and can be seen in visible light, this is also wrong. So understand this 120 why this option 4 is right. Right, done. So the next, I think, yeah, this is about this plant kingdom question. Model answer.
Thank you, sir. So here the next question is from biological classification. Here if you see, the main criteria used for 5 kingdom classification proposed by R.H. Whittaker includes what? Cell structure, thallus or body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction and phylogenetic relationships. Nowhere presence of flagellum is a criteria for classification, 5 kingdom system of classification. So A, B, D and E. Option 1 is the right answer. Next question. Yeah, it is a direct question from sexual reproduction of flowering plants. If you see, which one of the following is a triploid cell? Central cell is diploid, primary endosperm cell which is formed after fertilization is triploid, zygote is diploid, synergid is haploid. So the answer is option 2. Which of the following statements are correct with reference to packaging of DNA helix? DNA helix, if you see, DNA packaging we have learnt in detail. So first we will directly go to the statements. Histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules called as histone octamer, correct? Histones are positively charged basic proteins, not negatively charged. So statement B is wrong. Histones are rich in basic amino acid residues, those are lysine and arginine, correct? The positively charged DNA, wrong. DNA is negatively charged, not positively charged. D is again wrong. The packaging of chromatin at higher levels requires additional set of proteins called as non-histone chromosomal proteins. E is true again. Okay, E is true. So here option A, C, E are correct. Option 2. Yeah, so next question.
See, this 124 question is about this conservation question. So which of the following is an example of this in situ conservation method? So if you see here, we have one option, scared groves and wildlife sanctuary, safari parks, botanical gardens, seed banks. If you see, these 3 are coming under ex-situ conservation. Ex-situ conservation is nothing but we are conserving the animal, it's not in place. We are taking the animal and we are putting in one place and we are conserving. So these seed banks, botanical garden, wildlife sanctuaries are ex-situ conservation. Whereas in situ conservation, we are protecting the animal at their place only. So what are the examples? The first example is national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reservoirs, right? And also this scared grove is also an examples of in situ conservation. So the option is 1, right? Next question.
Thank you, sir. So here if you see, it is from gene expression Lacoperon. In Lacoperon model we have seen 3 structural genes Z, Y, A, where Z codes for beta galactosidase, Y codes for permease, A codes for transacetylase. So the right answer is option 4. Yeah. Next is a match the following type of question of list 1 and list 2. Here if you see list 1, 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid is a herbicide. Okay, this is a herbicide. Gibberellic acid Ga3 is used in brewing industries for malting process. Next, kinetin. Kinetin is used for nutrient mobilization. Abscisic acid, which is known as a stress hormone or anti-transparent hormone, this is used for stimulation of stomatal closure. So, 2,4-D, which is option 3, gibberellic acid 3 used in brewing industries, kinetin nutrient mobilization, and ABA stimulation of stomatal closure, which is option 3. Done, right? And the next question. Yeah. Arrange the following steps of somatic hybridization in correct sequence from tissue culture concept. First is isolation of single cells from two different varieties of plants, that is D, followed by digestion of cell walls. We need to lyse the cell walls, which is A, and then isolation of naked protoplast, that is complete protoplasm along with cell membrane, and then fusion of protoplast to form a hybrid protoplast. Last, growing of hybrid protoplast to form a new plant, which is option 2. Okay, and then from respiration, RQ value of biomolecules used for respiration as per the above equation would be, this is direct equation from your NCERT of tripalmitin. It is RQ value is calculated by amount of CO2 evolved by oxygen consumed. It is 102 by 145, somewhere in between 0.5 to 1 you will get, which is nothing but RQ value 0.7 exactly for fat. So, here right answer is option 2. Next.
So you see, since the origin and diversification of life on the earth, there have been 5 episodes of mass extinction, right? So we have 5 mass extinctions. How is the 6th extinction, which is in progress, different from the previous episodes? So they are asking how the 6th extinction is happens, right? So the current species extinction rate are far lower than those in previous episodes, right? It's not, right? So we are having lot of pollutions, we are using habitat fragmentation, over exploitation. We are doing more than these 5 episodes, more than the 5 episodes. So not lower, so this will be the wrong. And the present net species extinction rate is 0. So there are lot of species are going to extinct. So it is not 0, right? Option 3 is also wrong. And the current species extinction rate is nearly 10 times faster than the previous episodes. So it is not 10 times, actually the correct option is the present species extinction rate is 100 to 1000 times faster than the pre-human activities, because nowadays all the modernization leads to this 100 to 1000 times faster extinction. So the correct option is option 2. The present species extinction rate is 100 to 1000, direct NCERT line. Understand? Right.
Next question is from biomolecules. Yeah, if you see this question of list 1 and list 2, okay. In list 1 we have, this is directly from the NCERT table of biomolecules. Trypsin is an enzyme, which is option 3. Okay, morphin is an alkaloid, concanvalin A, lectin, collagen is intercellular ground substance, which is directly from the table. Here it is option 1. Next, 131. It is from Living World binomial nomenclature. Which one of the following statement is not true about the universal rules of binomial nomenclature? Here from that the first word of biological name represents what? Specific epithet, which here he is asking not true. The first word represents generic name, second represents specific epithet, but here it is correct, directly showing the incorrect statement that first word is specific epithet he is saying, which is incorrect. Option 3 is wrong. Next, here we go. The enzyme required for carboxylation and Calvin cycle is rubisco, which is ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase oxygenase. Next, 133. Which of the following floral formula is the correct floral formula for Solanaceae members? We have seen in Solanaceae members epipetalous condition, that is androecium adjoined to corolla, and it is bisexual, calyx 5, corolla 5 fused, epipetalous condition. Gynoecium is bicarpellary, superior ovary, which is option 2. Next, which one of the following types of pollination brings genetically different types of pollen grains to stigma? Genetically different types of pollen grains, you can see the type of pollination is xenogamy, okay, which is cross pollination. Next question is again from respiration of plant physiology. Glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm on the sites of the reactions. ETS, electron transport system, occurs in the intermembrane space. So A is 3, B is 1, sorry, inner mitochondrial membrane, ETS 1. Next, C, accumulation of protons takes place in intermembrane space, C4. Krebs cycle, which is option 2, mitochondrial matrix. So the right answer is option 2. Next question. Sir. Start. You just give me for this question, sir. Astrology.
Yes, this thing and this will handle. So now the next question is 136. So insertion of foreign DNA at BAM-HI site is an E. coli cloning vector PBR322 results in the loss of antibiotic resistant gene. So generally we have PBR322 and we have two restriction site, one is tetracycline, another one is amplicin. So here the tetracycline resistant gene is present where? At the site of BAM-HI. So when you do a foreign insertion in BAM-HI, there will be a loss of antibiotic resistance activity of tetracycline. So the correct option is tetracycline, right? Next, 137, madam will tell this question.
This is the second time repeating question, sir.
Same question, right?
Same question, second time repeated question from sickle cell anemia only. Sixth mutant codon of beta globulin gene causing polymerization of hemoglobin and change in RBC is GUG, okay, which is coding for valin, which is option 2.
So from the same concept they arise two questions in a different way. Right. That is exactly good question. Right. We'll move on. We'll see. Right. Coming to this 138 question, let's see. Choose the correct statements regarding GIFT, G-I-F-T, gamete intrafallopian tube transfer to overcome infertility. So they are asking about ZIFT. This is about human health, right? Right. We'll see what is meant by ZIFT. Ova collected from the female donor, okay, are transferred to the uterus of an infertile female? No, it's not transferring to the uterus, it's transferring to the fallopian tube, right? Now, It is the transfer of ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who cannot produce ovum but can provide suitable environment for the fertilization development. So this will be maximum right options. We'll see option 3 and 4. Early embryos, here you can directly eliminate early embryos, they cannot transfer. This is about gamete intra-fallopian tube transfer technology. So option 3, option 4 directly you can wrong. So the correct option is option 2, right? Understand? So which one of the following is an example of appropriate example of sexual deceit? So this thing we already discussed in our classes. Sexual deceit, which was shown by this orifice and bumblebee. So here what happens, the flower of this orifice the female flower of the orifice look like something bumblebee like of structure. So this is actually causing pseudo pollination, pseudo-sexualism. So pseudo copulation is showing from this orifice and bumblebee. So that was only called as sexual deceit. So this is the best example for the sexual deceit, right? So from the human evolution, they gave just a simple direct question. So they are asking the sequence of this human evolution kind of thing. So from this, the first one is not Homo habilis, not Homo sapiens. Here see Ramapithecus, right? So after this Homo habilis was came. Next Homo erectus, now Neanderthalis, and now we are Homo sapiens. So in this 140 question, the correct sequence of this human evolution is option 2, right? Again from human reproduction, they gave another question which is very simple, direct to last paragraph in our module. This question gave as one table, direct table we gave as one module. Right. So let's see what happens. The fetus movement starts and hair appears on the head, which is generally right 5th month, right? So that is about 12 weeks of pregnancy, and the fetus develops into the limbs and digit. So this is generally about this 8 week of pregnancy, right? According to these two only we can easily eliminate and answer the question. So A is 2, right? A is 2. And the fetus develops into the lymph and digit, that was done in 8 week of pregnancy here. And now you see the fetus develops external genital organs. So generally after this fetus develops into limbs and digit, now the external organs is going to develop. So the 12 weeks of pregnancy was done. C is 4. And the option, the final development, the fetus development is covered with fine hairs, eyelids and eyelashes, everything is formed later. So that is about 24 weeks of pregnancy. So here the option is option 4, A2, B3, C4, D1. So this is also direct statements they gave in question, right? So 144 one. Next question. They gave some characters. They are asking which character it is and which this animal belongs to which phylum or which class. So a group of researchers procured some fish-like animals. Upon investigation, the following characters were observed. Let's see the characters. Endoskeleton was made up of cartilage, okay, and ectoparasite, as they were found attached on fish skin with the circular sucking mouth. So this is the character of cyclostomata. Alright, so based on this option 2, you can directly choose these options. So cyclostomata, the best example is Petromyzon. And let's see, paired fin scales were absent in Petromyzon. In cyclostomata we studied there is no paired fins, all these things, but 7 pairs of gill slits were present. So these are the characters which are the general characters of cyclostomata, right? So here scoliodon is nothing, exocetus, branchiostoma, all these 3 are wrong. So based on this option 4 only, if you have to recognize this is the characters of cyclostomata, and the best example for cyclostomata is Petromyzon species, right? Next they are asking from this spermatogenesis. Again they ask from this human reproduction. Let's see. Spermatogonia undergoes a series of cell divisions, okay, to produce sperms. Select the correct statements regarding this spermatogenesis. Let's see. Spermatogonia always undergoes meiotic cell division. No, it not always undergoes. Only starting primary multiplication phase only it's going meiotic, so mitotic. After that is going meiotic cell division. So option A will be the wrong. And primary spermatocytes divides mitotically to produce secondary spermatocytes. No, it's not mitotically. It is meiotic division, right? Then only this haploid content will be reduced. So option B is also wrong. Secondary spermatocytes through their second meiotic division, yes, produce haploid spermatids, right? And spermatids produce spermatozoa through mitosis. No, it is no mitosis. There is only transformation will be happen. So that transformation is called as spermatid transforms into spermatozoa by spermiogenesis. Here the correct statements are C and E. Let's see what are the choose the correct answer from the options given below is C and E. Just simple, C and E are the correct statements. Understand why this A, B and D was wrong. In primary only primary mitotic division will occur, next meiosis also occur. So not always mitosis, sorry, meiosis, and with the help of meiosis only secondary spermatocytes will develop. And also the process of the conversion of spermatid to spermatozoa is spermiogenesis, not with the help of this mitosis, right? So A, B, D are wrong, option C and E are right. So option is 1. Next. Right. So this is about genetics. Madam will tell this genetics question. We'll see. Done.
So here if you see, what is the probability of having children with O blood group where both mother and father are heterozygous for A and B blood groups respectively. So here if you see, mother and father are heterozygous, he is saying. So it is IA, IO and IB, IO. Offspring's probability of having O blood group we have to see now. So after cross what we will get? IA, IB, IA, IO, IB, IO and then IO, IO. 25% of the total offsprings can be, 25% of the total offsprings can be, there is a possibility of having O blood group, okay. So the right answer is option 4.
So this is a human physiology question. Madam, right. Thank you. This is from human physiology excretion question, right? So very simple. So this is the regulation mechanism, I think. We'll see. Arrange the following events occurring in the renin-angiotensin mechanism in the correct order. So they are asking this RAS mechanism, what is the steps that are going to happen in this RAS mechanism. We'll see what is the order. They gave for the first option increase in blood pressure and glomerular filtration rate. No, this will be the last, I think. And we'll see the first. So whenever this fall in the glomerular filtration rate, then what happens? This DCT and afferent arteriole will recognize this fall in glomerular filtration rate. Then there is a release of renin from afferent arteriole. So whenever the fall in GFR, that will be the first step. That leads to what? The release of renin. Now what happens? Renin converts angiotensin into angiotensin 1. After that, this angiotensin 1 is followed by conversion of angiotensin 2 with the help of angiotensin converting enzyme that is released from lungs, right? So the first option is C, and that C leads to release of this renin. Right? Next one, reabsorption of sodium and water from distal parts of the tubule due to this aldosterone, and vasoconstriction with angiotensin 2 and release of aldosterone. So after this release of conversion of angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2, and now this happens, vasoconstriction was done by this angiotensin 2 and the release of aldosterone. Now this aldosterone, what it will do, it will go and reabsorb the sodium from the tubule parts, DCT, right? And now whenever the sodium everything construction was done, then there is an increase of blood pressure and there is an increase of glomerular filtration rate. So the correct order, the first order is C. After C, renin has to be released. Renin has to convert the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, right? After that, what happens? With the help of this angiotensin 2, vasoconstriction has to takes place. After the vasoconstriction, what happens? This reabsorption of sodium by aldosterone. So after the reabsorption of sodium by the aldosterone, what happens? Finally, the blood pressure has to increase. Here we have a problem, fall of glomerular filtration rate. Now what happens? This glomerular filtration rate has to be increased. So this will be the correct option. This is the correct steps of this renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Understand? Right. Now this is also human physiology question from respiration. They gave some respiratory volumes and the capacities gave. So this is also very simple question. So generally we know the tidal volume is about 500 ml. So according to this, can be option D is 2, right? There are two options. And we have residual volume which is 2500 to 3000 ml, right? So B is 1, right? And we have expiratory reserve volume and inspiratory reserve volume. So the expiratory reserve volume is 1000 to 1100 ml and inspiratory reserve volume is 1100 to 1200 ml. So according to this, the option 1 will be the right options. So this was just a simple table question, respiratory volumes and capacities, what is the capacities they have. So we can directly choose option with the help of this B and D, respiratory reserve volume and tidal volume. Very simple question, right? Next one, this is about this human reproductive health. From this reproductive health, they gave another question that in matching. We'll see. So they gave some products and they gave what is the product, what is the purpose of the product. So we know Saheli is an oral contraceptive pill. So with the help of CSIR Institute, we developed this Saheli pill, right? So oral contraceptive pill. And diaphragm is a barrier method of rubber used with the females. And this progesterone, see progesterone, it is a hormonal releasing intrauterine device. And this multi-load, the final option is copper releasing IUDs. So based on this, we will tell Saheli is oral contraceptive pill. D is 2. We have 2. And diaphragm is barrier method of rubber used by the female. Option C is 1. And A is progestate, hormonal releasing IUD. So the option is first option. Simple statements, simple question this was. Progestate is hormonal releasing IUD, multi-load is copper releasing, diaphragm is barrier, and Saheli is oral contraceptive, right? Next one is, this is from cell biology.
Direct question, sir. Just one question.
Yeah.
So here if you see, this is a direct question. Non-membrane bound cell organelles found in both prokaryote and eukaryotic cells are what? Ribosomes. Whereas in prokaryotes you will be having 70S ribosomes, in prokaryotes 70S ribosomes, and in eukaryotes 80S ribosomes in the cytoplasm, and 70S you will see in mitochondria and chloroplast. So the right answer is option 2. We will see few more questions from my part here. Here if you see, this question is from microbes in human welfare, wherein direct question asked where the microbial use in industrial usage, microbes in industrial usage. Streptokinase, which is the blood cholesterol lowering agent, option 3. Statins will remove the clots from blood. Lipases are used in detergent formulations. Cyclosporin A is immunosuppressive agent. So, A is 3, B2, C4 and D1, which is option 4. Got it? Next. This question you see, multi-statement based question from cell the unit of life. Choose the correct statements regarding cell organelles and their inclusions. The endomembrane system includes Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, but not mitochondria. Okay. Rough endoplasmic reticulum bears ribosomes on the surface, correct. Both mitochondria and plastids will have circular DNA, true. A network of microtubules, microfilaments, intermediary filaments are present in the cytoplasm. This is called as cytoskeleton, true. Mitochondria is not single membrane bound, it is double membrane bound organelle. So, E is wrong. So, the right answer is B, C and D. Option 4 is the right answer.
Now we'll move to next question, we'll see. Is everything is completed? Right. We'll go to next question. Right, 141, 149 question is there, we'll see. So this is from ecological pyramids, right? Ecosystem, very simple. Ecological pyramids represent the relationship between the organisms at a different trophic level and they generally inverted form. So they are generally asking inverted questions. So inverted one. So pyramid of energy, this is, whenever you see this pyramid of energy, it always upright, right? And pyramid of biomass in C, we'll see. Pyramid of number in grassland, this is also upright. And pyramid of biomass in grasslands, so this is also upright pyramid. So they are asking for what? Inverted pyramid. So generally inverted for pyramid of biomass in sea. So the best example is from phytoplanktons, phytoplanktons to zooplanktons, zooplanktons to minor fishes, like that, so on. Like this is the example of pyramid of biomass in sea. So here the option is 2, right? Next one, 150th question we'll see. The flightless bird with 4 limbs modified as paddle-like structures suited for swimming is known as. So the best thing is pterodites. So generally people will go for Struthio, but it is not adapted for this swimming, right? So even though it is a flightless bird, it is not adapted for Struthio, adapted for swimming. So the option is wrong. 3. And Pistacula is this thing, parrot. So 1, 2, 3. You can easily eliminate 1, 2, 3. The option is pterodites. See, the first 150th question is the option is pterodites, right? So here the 2 questions are done. Now we'll move to next question. So 53, 153. Sorry. So select the fishes which belongs to the class of Ostrichthys, bony fishes. Ostrichthys, bony fishes, right? You see this hangfish, Petromyza and Vixen, which is generally Cyclostomata. You can directly eliminate these 2 statements. And the sawfish and dogfish, these are chondrichthyes fishes, cartilaginous fishes. So the flying fish, angelfish, fighting fish. So option 3 is the correct option. See, based on the elimination method, you can easily answer the question. Hangfish, this cuttlefish also. Wrong statement here, cuttlefish also. Starfish is Echinodermata, right? So the correct option is option 3, right? So next question, madam will solve.
Yeah, this is the third question which we are seeing from the concept of sex determination, where In population of grasshopper species, the chromosome number of some members is 23 and some members possess 24 chromosomes. The 23 and 24 chromosomes bearing the members in the species, male or female. So, it is exhibited by grasshopper is saying grasshopper exhibits male heterogamety. Male heterogamety, where males will be having XY chromosomes only, males will be having only one X chromosomes, female 2 X chromosomes. So, male will have one chromosome less than that of females. So, it is 23 chromosomes males, 24 chromosomes females, option 4. I will do all the questions from my part, those are very few. This slide, yeah, the rest questions belongs to zoology only. Yeah, here 159 if you see, again the same question from sex determination. In which male do haploid cells divide mitotically to produce gametes? This you will observe in haplodiploid type of sex determination. Haplodiploid type of sex determination, you will see that in male honeybees. And then, yeah, this question again from Cell the Unit of Life. Third question from the same chapter. Select the correct statements regarding cell membrane in eukaryotic cell. Membranes of human RBC have approximately 52% of proteins. Yes, it is 52% of proteins and 48% of lipids. Major phospholipids are arranged in the bilayer. True, major phospholipids arranged in bilayer. Asked about eukaryotic cell. So, extensions of plasma membrane will not be mesosome. C is wrong. Tails towards the inner part of the lipid are hydrophobic and thus protected from the aqueous environment. D is true. Glycocalyx will not be there. So, the right answer will be A, B and D. A, B, D, option 4. Let us look at some other questions which are in this slide. That is all from my part, and yeah. Here one question from enzymes. The following reaction depicts the activity of particular class of enzymes. When we have seen the 6 classes of enzymes, ligases are involved in binding up of the molecules, liases in cleaving the bonds, isomerases in shifting just the functional groups. The number of carbons and their positions will be same, just there will be a change in the functional group. Transferases are involved in the transfer of electrons, protons or the functional group. Okay. So, here if you see XC and XY, these bonds are cleaved and XY is formed, carbon bonds are cleaved here in the products. So, the enzyme involved is liases, option 2. And then last question from my part from microbes and human welfare. This is second question from that chapter. What is the reason behind production of large holes in the Swiss trees? Large holes in the Swiss trees. The production of large amount of carbon dioxide, that is because of Propionibacterium shermani, which is option 4. Okay. The rest questions sir will be continuing. Yeah, from here.
Thank you, madam. I will continue. So, we will continue remaining questions, no problem at all. I hope you guys are watching and understanding this, all the pre-YQ, all the NEET 2026 questions, right? So, we will see, right, we will go to this. I think from this slide all the questions are complete, right? Okay. Now, in this thing we will see. So, there is a question 155 question was not done. We will see. They gave the WBC count of a person blood sample is 8000 CUMM, and how many eosinophils and lymphocytes would be in the same blood sample. So they are asking, they gave one total value like 8000, and they are asking what will be the percent of this eosinophil and lymphocytes. So generally we know, right, eosinophils and lymphocyte percentage, it's generally 2 to 3% approximately, and lymphocytes actually more than this 40 or 50 kind of percent. So based on this percentage value, when we apply to this 8000 total value, you will get around 160 to 240 of eosinophil and 1600 to 2000 of lymphocytes. So here for this 155th question, the answer is option 1, right? Now from again this biotechnology part, they gave another question about these BT products, Bacillus thuringiensis, coded by which of the following genes? They have asked genes. So here you have to read carefully. So they are asking control cotton bollworms and corn borer respectively. So first option you have to give cotton bollworms. So in this we have two genes, right, cry1AC, cry2AB, and corn borer respectively. So here the cotton bollworm, so the gene is cry1AC, right, and corn borer respectively is cry1AB. So the option is 3. These two genes respectively mentioning genes for cotton bollworms and corn borer respectively, right? So another question from this drugs. So we'll see, we have to match the list 1 with the list 2. We'll see. So this nicotine, morphine they gave, heroin they gave, cocaine. So what is the effects of these drugs? Nicotine generally causes sense of euphoria and increased energy, stimulates adrenal gland to release catecholamines in blood circulation. Effective sedative and painkiller, it represent and slow down body function. So what will be the answer? So nicotine generally stimulates adrenal gland to release catecholamines into this blood circulation, right? And morphine, effective painkiller, sedative and painkiller, right, morphine. And heroin, it is a depressant, slow down body functioning, yes. And cocaine generally causes sense of euphoria and increasing energy. So this was the drugs, and what are these are the effects of these drugs. So generally the option is, so A generally 2, right, there are 2 options, B 3, there are also 2 options. Heroin, a depressant, remember, a slow down the body functioning. So option 2, option 2 is the correct option for this 157 question, right? So from disorders also they gave one question. So very good question they gave. So you see there are 4 disorders: tetany, arthritis, myasthenia gravis, muscular dystrophy. So generally we discuss all these disorders on separate basis, and also human physiology we have all these disorders in NCERT. We will see what is the cause of all these things. Autoimmune disorder affecting neuromuscular junction. So you see arthritis is the best example for inflammation of joints, right? So B definitely 1. Based on one option you can easily correct, you can easily give the correct option, right? So arthritis is the inflammation of joints. Next you see this myasthenia gravis, it's an autoimmune disorder but affecting neuromuscular junction. So C definitely 2. And this muscular dystrophy, there is a gene which is called as dystrophin gene. So because of the loss of that dystrophin gene we will get this muscular dystrophy. The symptom is progressive degeneration of this skeleton muscle. So D definitely 4, C2, E3, and A tetany is responsible because of this wild concentration in muscle due to the low concentration is body fluids. So the option is option 1. right? So generally, if you remember, this arthritis is generally because of these joint pains, inflammation during these joints. So that will help you to solve this question. So right, so I hope all these questions was done, right? So we'll move on to next slide. Yeah, 159 was done, and 160. From this human physiology, again respiration, they gave another question. They are asking, in humans, respiration occurs in the following steps, right? There are some steps which is done in respiration, and now they are asking, arrange these steps in correct order. We have to arrange the steps in correct order, right? So well, let's arrange. First, what happens? We'll see. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 between blood and tissues, no. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 alveolar tissue membrane, we'll see. And pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn into and CO2 rich alveolar air is released out. Cellular respiration, transport of gases by the blood. So generally the first option has to be pulmonary ventilation. We have to inhale and exhale. So that thing we have to done. Air is drawn in and CO2 in rich alveolar air is released out. So the C will be the first option, right? Next what happens? Now the diffusion of O2 and CO2 across alveolar membrane was done. That it is not in tissues, right? Still we are in lungs. Just we inhale the O2 and exhale the CO2. And what happens in lungs? Diffusion of this O2 and CO2 will done. Now what happens? Whenever the diffusion was taking place, the blood transports the oxygen, transport the gases by the blood, right? And whenever the blood reaches the cellular tissue, there the diffusion of O2 and CO2 between the blood and tissue will happen, right? That is the fourth step. And the final, cellular respiration. So based on this, the first option is C. You can eliminate these two options, C and C. So the second option, if you see, the second step is diffusion of O2 and CO2 across alveolar membrane. So next option is B. So it is wrong. So the correct option is C, B, E, A, D. Fourth option is the correct option. First we have to pulmonary ventilation has to take place. Next, diffusion of O2, CO2 at lungs has to take place. After that only we have to transport the gases. Next, there is the diffusion of O2 and CO2 in tissues. Then there will be a kind of thing which is called as cellular respiration will happens. See, this is the option, fourth option for 160th question, right? And also from this human reproduction also they gave another question. Now also they are asking the sequence of the layers, egg layers. Arrange the following layers or structures around the female gamete from outer to inner side. So they mention outer to inner side. So we have to read the questions carefully, right? So when you, if we draw the structure of the egg, if you draw the structure of the egg, there are a lot of cells. What are these cells? All these cells are called as corona radiata, right? So after the corona radiata, we have a layer which is called as zona pellucida layer, right? So after the corona radiata, there will be a zona pellucida layer, and from this zona pellucida layer, inside there is a layer which is called as plasma membrane. And to this plasma membrane, zona pellucida layer, there is a space which is called as previtellin space, right? So next is previtellin space. After that only plasma membrane of the ovum will come. So the correct option is, first is corona radiata, next is zona pellucida, next is previtellin membrane, previtellin space, and fourth one is plasma membrane of the ovum. This was the from the structure of egg they have asked one question, right? The correct option is option 2. Again, The human protein named alpha-1 antitrypsin obtained from the transgenic animal used for the treatment of what? Just direct question, emphysema, right? So the just NCRT, just direct question is from testable. The human protein alpha-1 antitrypsin is used for what? Emphysema, right? So 163 was done. 164 we'll see. So male frogs can be distinguished from the female frogs due to the presence of what? Due to the presence of vocal sacs and copulatory pads, first digits of the forelimbs. So these two are the key characters of male frog. So these vocal sacs responsible for the male frog is for copulation, for the calling for the copulation, and these copulative pads are also responsible during the copulation. So these two are the key characters. With the help of these two characters we can easily distinguish. So the option is B and D, right? 164, the option is B and D. Is there any doubts? Right? Done. And coming to the 165 question, just they have asked formula of what? Perel's logistic growth population equation. They didn't ask any calculation, nothing. They have given what is the equation, what is the formula of this logistic growth curve. dn by dt is equal to Rn k minus n by k. So this was the correct option for this logistic growth population, right? Now we'll see. And this is from frog anatomy. We have discussed this thing. Hepatic portal system is the special venous connection between liver and intestine. In NCERT they gave liver and digestive glands, right? There is no problem with this. And there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves arising from the brain of the frog. No, right? There are only 10 pairs, right? Option B will be the wrong. And the uterus and oviducts open separately into the cloaca in the females. Yeah. And hindbrain consists of the cerebellum, medulla oblongata and optic lobes, right? It's not right. Hindbrain connects of only cerebellum and medulla oblongata. This, whereas this optic lobes is about this midbrain. So option D will be the wrong. And sinus venous joins the right atrium of the heart. So here the options are A, C, E are the correct statements. Understand? So for this 166 question, option A, option C, option E. See, statement A, statement C, statement E are the correct statements, right? And next question they have asked from this Erythrobacillus fetalis. If you see the options, by seeing options also you can easily eliminate the thing and you can easily answer the question. So we will see they are asking incorrect statements. Read. They have asked correct or incorrect, or you have to read. They have asked correct or incorrect. So here they have asked incorrect statements with reference to Rh blood grouping. Erythroblastosis fetalis is a condition observed having fetus with Rh negative blood and mother with Rh positive blood. Next one, Rh antigen is observed on RBC in the majority of human beings. Okay, before blood transfusion, Rh group should have been matched here. Rh incompatibility is observed when a pregnant mother is Rh positive and the fetus is Rh negative, right? Erythroblastosis fetalis can be avoided by administering anti-Rh antibodies, yes, to the mother immediately after the delivery of second child. No, after the delivery of first child, then only this Erythroblastosis fetalis will be eliminated. So option E will be the wrong statement here. So based on this option only, you can choose the correct option, option A and E. Option A, erythroblastosis fetalis is the condition observed having fetus with Rh negative blood with mother with RH positive? No, the fetus has to be positive, mother has to be negative. So option A is wrong, option E is wrong. So based on just one statement, you are giving the correct option easily, right? So A and E are the wrong statements for this 167 question, right? We'll move. So this is also with reference to this human physiology, bones and all these things. We discussed human skull is, we'll see which of the following statements are correct. Here they have asked correct. Human skull is monocondylic. No, right? We have dicondyle. We are not rotating our heads 360 degrees, right? We are rotating our heads only 180 degrees. So this is not correct statement. Option A is wrong. The joint between any two adjoining vertebrae is cartilaginous joint. So there will be a fluidity, right? So that's why the joint between any two adjoining vertebrae is made up of cartilaginous joints. So option B is right. In human beings, the number of cervical vertebrae is 7, right? And all ribs except the last two pairs are bicephalic. No, all ribs are bicephalic except last two. This is exactly opposite. This is wrong statement. And this occupational bone of the skull is articulated with atlas vertebra, right? This is also right statement. So E is right, C is right, B is also right. E, C, B. So here the option is 3. B, C, E are the right statements, right? And there is another table matching question, very simple. List 1 with list 2. They gave some hormones, some enzymes, different kind of thing. So we have to match with this. We'll see. Cortisol, aldosterone, cholecystokinin, progesterone. Stimulate the formation of alveoli in mammary glands. That is done by this progesterone, right? And stimulation of reabsorption of sodium and water from the renal tubules, which was done by aldosterone. So B definitely 3. There are 2 options, and D definitely 1. So A definitely 2. Produce anti-inflammatory responses, cortisol and cholecystokinin. See, it was involved in digestive system, right? So stimulate secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juices, right? So C definitely 4. B definitely 3. So the option is, according to this, you choose option 2. A, cortisol produces anti-inflammatory reactions. Aldosterone, which stimulate the reabsorption of sodium and water from renal tubules, right? So if you know this concept, they gave through 2 to 3 questions, right? And next, cholecystokinin stimulates secretion of pancreatic enzymes, right? And progesterone, which is helpful in the mammary gland, stimulate the formation of alveoli in mammary gland. So option is 2, right? We'll go to next question. So they gave another question from human health, the 2 in Plasmodium vivax, this life cycle of malaria parasite, right? So arrange the following stages of life cycle of Plasmodium in a sequence. So we have to see what is the sequence of this life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. So first, what happens? First, female mosquito injects sporozoites into the human during bite, right? First we have to, these insects, female Anopheles mosquito has to inside this sporocyte into these humans, right? The first will be this option. Now what happens? Now the sporozoites has to reach the liver through the blood, right? So the first option is E. There are 2 options, you can easily eliminate. And the second option is D. And now the parasite reproduce asexually in liver. So whenever the sporozoite entering into the liver, they reproduce asexually in the liver cell, bursting the cell and releasing into the blood again, right? So the next option is B. Now what happens? From liver they has to enter into the RBC, right? they has to enter into the RBC. Now after entering into the RBC, now they will form the gametocytes, right? So and also they will release one substance which is called as hemozoin. Due to this only we will get fever and chill kind of thing, right? So the option is 2. First they has to enter, sporozoites has to enter, spores has to reach the liver, and they has to develop, and they has to reach RBC, and the gametocytes has to develop. So for the question 170th, the answer is option 2, right? So that was the sequence of the life cycle of Plasmodium. Understand? Now from the animal kingdom question chapter, they gave one question. You see, the select the incorrect statement. They have asked incorrect statement from the following. Just because just we have to identify the incorrect statement. We'll see. Digestive system in platyhelminth is incomplete. Okay. Bilateral system is a characteristic feature of adult echinoderms. This is wrong statement. Radial symmetry seen in adult echinoderms, whereas bilateral symmetry seen in larvae of this adult echinoderms, right? So option B will be the wrong statement. And notochord is present, right? Notochord is present throughout life in the class of chondrichthyes. No, this is also wrong statement. And members of class Reptilia maintain a constant body temperature. This will be the if you see, select the incorrect statement from the following. The options are pseudocoelom is possessed by Aspirants. That will be the right statement, right? And you see, notochord is present throughout life in the class of chondrichthyes, cartilaginous fishes. Notochord is present in these cartilaginous fishes. So here this will be the wrong statement. And members of classes Reptilia maintains a constant body temperature. No, they will not maintain a constant temperature. We humans, mammals, maintains the constant body temperature. Here from this thing, so option B and E will be the wrong statements, right? Option B and E will be the wrong statements. Understand? So option B, bilateral symmetry is a characteristic feature of larval echinoderms, not adult echinoderms. And adult echinoderm shows what? Radial symmetry. And these members of class Reptilia maintains a constant body temperature. That is wrong statement. Right. Next question, if you see 172, the specific receptors for the neurotransmitters in a synapse are present on. See, this is presynaptic neuron, this is postsynaptic neuron. So whenever the neurotransmitters are going to release here, the receptor present on where? Postsynaptic neuron. So the answer is here, postsynaptic neuron is the answer. So receptor present on where? Postsynaptic neuron. Understand? That is the thing. Next question. Again from the human physiology, they gave from the muscle contraction. So they are asking, choose the correct answer. So we have to eliminate incorrect options, right? So if you see, a motor neuron carries a signal sent by the central nervous system to the sarcolemma of the muscle fiber, okay? And the neuron signal generates an action potential which causes the release of calcium in the sarcoplasm, right? Increase in the calcium inactivates the actin for breaking cross bridges, which is not inactive, which is activates the actin for the cross bridges formation, right? So option C will be the wrong statement. Actin binds to the myosin head to form a cross bridge, right? And shortening of the sarcomere takes place by the pulling of actin filaments towards the center of the A band, right? Only. So this, if you remove this option, option C is wrong exact statement. And so here the option is A, B, D, E are the correct statements. So this is from muscle contraction. Just one word, if you guess this one word, inactivates, option C will be the wrong. If you eliminate this option C in options, the option 1 be the right option, right? Understand? Which of the following is an example of not an example, remember, which of the following is not an example of convergent evolution? Not an example. The answer is four limbs of whales and bats. This is the not an example of convergent evolution, right? Understand? The direct bit. Now from this again, human physiology excretion from this renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, there is a aperture called juxtaglomerular apparatus. So there is a mechanism, with the help of this only this RAS mechanism will work. They are asking, is special sensitive region formed by the cellular modification in where? So this JGA apparatus is present where, they are asking. So it is present in DCT, PCT, PCT and efferent. So we know it is present where? For example, this is the glomerulus. So this is an efferent arteriole, this is efferent arteriole, this was leads to PCT and this was leads to loop of Henle, and this loop of Henle leads to DCT and that was lead to collecting duct, right? So this part of DCT is associated with efferent arteriole. So the option is DCT and efferent arteriole. The incoming arteriole, this is outgoing arteriole. So the option is option 3. DCT and efferent arteriole are the regions where the formation of this juxtaglomerular apparatus was done. Understand? So that was the option for this question. Next question we will see. Sorry. Right, that question was done. We will see 177. Match list 1 with list 2. They gave phylums and they gave some respiration characters. Generally we go with what we know, right? Amoeba is generally cellular respiration. So D definitely 3. So you can easily eliminate these two options. And adult amphibians, right? We know that amphibians showing 3 different kind of respirations: pulmonary respiration, cutaneous respiration and copharyngeal respiration. This pulmonary and cutaneous respiration is done by adult amphibians. C definitely 4. Here also 2 is there. Molluscans having this branchial respiration, whereas reptiles have lungs, pulmonary respiration. So B definitely 1 and A definitely 2. So here the correct option is option 2, right? Reptiles have this pulmonary respiration, right? They have lungs, so they have pulmonary respiration. Molluscans have branchial respiration. Adults and amphibians have pulmonary and cutaneous respiration, whereas amoeba is showing cellular respiration, right? Madam already discussed this 170th question and we'll move on to We'll move on to 179 question. So match list 1 with list 2 with respect to the chronology of evolution of life forms, right? So for this question, what we have to do, how we have to answer. So above 500 million years means this was the starting. After about 350, next 320 and next 65 million years ago. So we have to arrange all these things according to this time period. So we have to see what will be the first phase, first thing was happened on this form. So is there any jawless fish probability evolved before this dinosaurs, seaweeds? The first one is invertebrates was formed and become active. The first and foremost in evolution, the invertebrates. So directly you can give this fourth option to this about 500 million years ago. So B definitely 4. So there are 3 options, we'll see. After that what happens? Seaweeds and few plants probably existed. So that was 2. C definitely 3. And after that jawless fish probability evolved. So that is about 320 million years ago. And the final, the dinosaurs suddenly disappeared from Earth, that is about A2. So A2, B4, C3, D1. So here the option is option 2. If you don't know the options very clearly, if you don't know how to match, just remember, so this is the chronological order, this is also chronological order things. So we have to arrange these options in a chronological order. So which one was first one? So invertebrates was formed first, right? After that seaweeds, all the few plants was arranged. After that fishes, jawless fishes, all these things came. Finally dinosaurs. So according to this chronological order, just give the options to this. So based on that you can easily choose the correct option, right? So let's see the final statement, final question, which is very simple, again from population interactions, right? Community interactions. Choose the correct statements regarding the population interactions between the two species. This is very simple. In both parasitism and commensalism, only one species is benefit and other species is harm. Is it right? No, right? In commensalism, one species is benefited whereas another species is neither harmed or not benefited. Both species benefits in mutualism, right? That's correct statements, right? Okay. Both species benefits in commensalism, no. Just now we see commensalism is plus and 0. In parasitism, only one species benefits and other species is harmed, right? And in amensalism, one species is harmed, another is unaffected, right? This is also right. Commensalism is nothing but this thing, whereas amensalism is one species is affected, another one is neither harmed or not gain nothing. This is commensalism. So here the options are B, D, E are the correct options. So the answer is B, D, E, option 4 for this question. So this is all about this 180th question, population interactions. So we discussed all the questions regarding NEET 2026. I hope all your doubts was cleared, right? Online students, all your doubts was cleared, and if you have any doubt, please mention in chat box. We'll try to solve your doubts, and let's wait for the main answer key, and we'll see is there any thing we did wrong, or is all thing are right or wrong. And if there any questions has to challenge, and we'll challenge all the questions. And I hope all the questions was cleared, all the botany zoology questions was clear, and stay with the NEET World, and we have uploading all the physics and chemistry questions also, no problem at all. And coming to this biology part, we completed all the biology questions, all the NEET 2026 questions was completed, and we solved all the questions also. And if you have any doubts in the questions, just give in chat box. If you have any doubt, we'll solve the question, right? So all the best. This time there so many people are asking the cutoff, what about this cutoff 683 category, Zipmer possible? We'll see. You have good score of 638 marks, so that absolutely fine. So let's wait for the option key, and we'll see after key. Let's wait for the result. And maybe probably this time the cutoff will be high because the options are very questions are very simple in biology also, and physics, chemistry, I think. So we'll see, right? So stay with us and and the remaining physics and chemistry questions are also going to solve. So right, so thank you so much for watching all this. Thank you. Done.